Are the current woes on the Atari VCS store giving you the blues? Let's chat a little bit about it. What's going on, everyone? It's Rich Haywood here for Bacon Ice Cream Productions and Team RTFC, welcoming you to yet another episode of the Good Times Newsline Flashcast. Yeah, that's right. So, a little more of a somber news flash or news flashcast, Newsline Flashcast today. But I don't know. It's been a long time, what, a week and a half, and I don't know. I think it's time to probably address this. I don't really like doing these videos. I love bringing all the awesome stuff, the fan favorite things, and the bright shiny happy stuff. But every once in a while, if something goes on too long, you got to talk about the not so nice stuff too, right? And you know me, I always love doing it in a different way. And today we're going to try to find the answer to the question of the Atari VCS outage. Who is bummed out more? The fans, the devs, or Atari themselves? I'm going to try to see if we can find out the answers to those questions. Now, I can tell you as a fan, I'm pretty bummed because I want to get the games. I want to get the new games. I currently have every single one of the games on the Atari VCS store, but one. Which one is that? Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the game in which I speak of. I speak, of course, of Webnetic's Colorful Boy 2. I didn't get in when the store launched the game, and the error then happened. So I wasn't able to purchase Colorful Boy 2. So I have no idea whether or not it's a really awesome game or not. No fun for Vive, nothing. However, I am saddened by the fact that I cannot buy that game because of the store's outage. Now, if you guys don't know, you have no idea what's going on. The Atari VCS store is experiencing some kind of weird error where when you go to buy something on the Atari VCS store, the screen blanks out as soon as you hit purchase. It just like fades, like normal. It is normal for it to do that, but then usually within a couple seconds you get the loading screen for like your payment information, your save card, whatever. You could hit purchase, it does the transaction goes to download and all that kind of stuff. So that's not happening. Instead, you get the fuzzy screen and then nothing. System just locks up. You can still actually press and hold the button to turn the machine off or restart, but that doesn't help. It just continues to do that. There's a server issue. And we're going to get to that in a second. But as a fan, that's a bummer, right? You want the cool games, and now you can't buy them, and it's a bummer. It's just a bummer, and that's where we're at. But there's no and that's no recourse, nothing like you can't hit a button, do a firmware reset, somehow get back into the store going whatever. No, it's just down. It's just down. So that's a bummer for the fans. But what about the devs, right? Let's go back to this guy over here, the Colorful Boy dev, Webnetic. There were a lot more than just colorful. It wasn't just like, oh, I made Colorful Boy, and you can buy it on the Atari VCS store. What if this dev was using Colorful Boy to put it on there and find out how it did? You know what? We're gonna put it on the store, and I'm gonna look at it for about 2 weeks. We'll see how it sells, and if it sells, well, maybe I got some more games, and some more games, and some more games, and some more games, and some more games. And you get the picture, guys, right? This dev seems to be pretty active in the whole game thing. And maybe was using a fan favorite game from another platform to see if people would want to play any more of their games on this new platform. Because they're older games and they probably had their run on that platform that they originally launched on. But maybe there's some more games that we can be playing, right? And who knows? Maybe all these games are really awesome. Maybe they're not so awesome. Maybe whatever. Some of them look pretty cool. But we might never know if the store never comes back, or the developer gets discouraged and decides not to put more games on the Atari VCS store for us to play. And that is also a bummer, right? So maybe it's a bummer for them, right? Maybe it's a bummer for another dev that is in the mix. Friends of the channel, Treefall Studios. Maybe it's a bummer for them, right? You know, the Tilting Tiles guys, the Perplexing War guys, yeah. You know, Pitter Pot, Maze, Annihilation, Gem Collector, Night Detective was a game that was supposed to be coming out on VCS, and was announced to be coming out on VCS the day that it got announced, along with another game that looked pretty cool. It was like a first-person thingy game. I don't know if it was the original Maze or something. I don't know what it was, but it looked cool. And then there was another game. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head now, but it was another word search game that was going to come out on Atari VCS. So 3 games are waiting to drop on the store. And it was announced it was supposed to come out, but obviously, you know, the store outages, there's nothing to do, right? They're just sitting in the queue. And that's a bummer, right? Now, some of these things, and then the developer has said on their own terms that there are certain things that need to happen for them in order for them to have a successful 2025. And some of that stuff was to have successful launches on the Atari VCS store. So as a developer, that's a bummer because you got games and you're willing to sell. And as fans, we've got money and we're willing to buy, but we can't connect the two. We can't connect the two and get that stuff done as I hit the microphone. But that's that, you know, all that being said, you know, it continues to be a bummer for all those involved, right? But is it a bummer for Atari? So let's see if they're on the same wavelength. Now this information comes courtesy of the world famous Atari Club Discord. You can get in Discord and hang out in there. I'm not gonna name the person there because I don't know if they want me to name them or not. We'll just call them, I don't know, community people from Atari. But this is a community person from Atari who was trying to answer some of those very questions about how Atari feels about the issue. Because there's a lot of speculation out there. There's rumors and all sorts of other stuff. It's on the X, it's on Facebook, it's on Reddit, it's everywhere. And people are like quoting like, oh well, they're giving up, and then Wade doesn't care about Atari VCS anymore, and all this other stuff or whatever. But here's some information that may calm some of the waters about this particular situation. So let's take a look. The question was, how can you trust that we, being Atari, are working on fixing the store issue? Okay, seems like a fair question. The answer was, what happened was that the third-party e-commerce platform, which they've been using, and it has been rocky, not no sugarcoating it. We VCS owners, longtime VCS owners, we know the store is quirky, man. Sometimes it likes you and sometimes it doesn't. So it says what happened was the third-party e-commerce speak rich, jeez, platform, which made updates, resulted in an error on how it interacts with the VCS. The person here, the community guy, spoke with Dave Puff, friend of the channel, and an Atari VCS employee, right? He works for Atari. Spoke to Dave Puff yesterday. That's yesterday of the day of this recording, so the 16th of June. He gave an update on the short-term plan currently being executed by the India VCS dev team, which I didn't know existed, but there is a dev team in India that's working on VCS stuff, which is cool, as well as the long-term plan to help prevent issues like this from happening in the future. And it didn't expand upon what the update was, but there is movement. So that's good. They're aware of the issue and they're working on it. So this dispels rumors about like, oh, they're not going to do anything. We're never going to get our games, whatever, all that kind of stuff. There was another question about fixing a bug in a food fight game for Atari VCS. That they said was up to the developers of that game. That's Megacat Studios, if I'm not mistaken. The issue was communicated to them, and they don't have any updates at that time for that. So there we go. And there was another question: why invest in Atari hardware or games? This person says, invest is the wrong word, as you should never expect a financial return on the money you spend on those items. If you mean why should you spend hard-earned money on Atari products, including hardware and games? If they bring you joy, happiness, nostalgia, or an escape, and that's a good reason to me. I agree with that statement because, like we're buying plastic, right? These things, this stuff here, this is the Evercade, but we're buying these things, right? Oh, here's your monitor controller. There we go. We got the Atari monitor controller right here. So yeah, we buy these things because we like them, right? We buy these things because we're seeking enjoyment or fulfillment of nostalgia or an escape for just having fun playing games. It's games, man. That's it. It's just fun. So I agree with that statement. And then personally, they said not commenting or suggesting how anyone should spend their money, obviously. Definitely not one to talk. Most of mine goes to plans and vet bills, they say. Which, hey, everybody's got to pay some kind of bill, right? And some people's time and funds are limited, of course. So yeah, that's a pretty decent answer as far as that stuff goes. And I get it. I mean, there's frustration when you're an owner and you have the thing and you want to play the thing, and then it doesn't happen, and you feel like you're getting kicked in the pants. I get it. I'm frustrated right now because I want to buy all those games. I want to support Treefall and get those 3 games that they're going to launch, and then get real excited for Backpack Boy, and then play that when it launches, and find out whether or not Colorful Boy, or is it Colorful Boy? Yeah, I think it was Colorful Boy. Yeah, I want to find out that game's cool. Maybe there's other games that were like in the pipeline that we're going to drop. I heard rumors that the Spirit of Samurai was going to like rise from the ashes of its announcement. Was it 4 years ago or something like that? And then it like finally come out soon. Who knows? I just want to play games and tell you whether or not it's worth your time and money on a Fun for Five. But it's cool. Like it's I still love the platform, and it's a bummer when it doesn't work. So I get the, like I'm saying, I was long ramble, but I get why might feel all that kind of thing. And then of course they addressed the rumor about like the Wade saying, I don't care about Atari, I would have killed it if I had the chance, and it didn't come out yet or whatever. As for the suggestion that Atari is actively killing the platform on purpose or to get rid of it, their response was, seems like a terrible business plan and a sure way to give headaches to everyone involved. The 2 issues we're discussing are not planned, and we are dealing with them to the best of our ability. So Atari knows that their stuff went wrong, and they are working on it. But we also have to realize, too, that the team at Atari VCS is probably a lot smaller than the team at Atari proper, the guys that are pumping out all those announcement videos, all those kind of things. And I get it too. I get the thing where we get announcements for all the great stuff's coming out of Digital Eclipse, right? All that awesome license goodness, and not a single one of those things is coming to the VCS. Makes you a little sad, right? Yes. The new adventure game that got announced is like a spiritual successor or something like that. That's apparently maybe not coming to the Atari VCS. We don't know for sure because sometimes they sneak the announcement in later. That it doesn't just have the Atari VCS logo right away, because it's a spiritual successor for a game that clearly can run on Atari VCS. That's a bummer. Excuse me. to not hear that those games, they're core Atari experience games. They fit directly in the vision of the console. That should be a thing that we should be able to play, right? Not telling Atari what to do, whatever, but as a fan, it just makes sense, right? And even Fatal Run. Fatal Run has a tendency, I don't know, because that's a technical question, right? Can that run on a VCS hardware correctly and well? You know, like, I don't want you to shove games on the VCS because it says it's an Atari property, and then force it to happen and then have a bad user experience, because then you get not greats on Fun for Res, right? Because you go through QA, you know it's not going to work, you push it out anyway, you get a game comes out and it's a wreck. It's not good. We don't want that, right? We want great experiences that we can play, and like, throw a couple bucks at Atari saying, hey, thanks for supporting the system, right? That's what at least that's what I want. Because keep it going and give us the things, give us the cool retro nuggets along the way. I would advocate 100% for that adventure game to come to the VCS, because in my opinion, looking at it, and hey, maybe the engine is super advanced and it's going to run like garbage and it would be bad to port. Okay, that's fine. Just let us know though if that's the case. But that adventure game is just primed to go to the VCS, and I hope it does. I hope that the devs over there, whoever's working with Atari to put that product out, see that. And yeah, you're not going to get many sales on Atari VCS, right? There's core audience for Atari is on the VCS. Maybe it's a couple thousand people, right? But still, that's a couple thousand people that on a tentpole title that is hitting you right in the nostalgia bones, they're all coming back and turning on their VCS, even if they haven't played it in 6 months. They're going to get that game. So just saying, maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's worth it to do. But anyway, before I ramble too much, I'm gonna. I didn't actually mean for this to go that long, so I'm gonna cut it here. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. And I know it's been a little minute since I've been in there replying to stuff. I will get in there. It's been nuts here at Studio B, otherwise known as the actual work job. It's really crazy for the past week and a half, and it probably will be crazy for another week and a half. But we got cool things coming. In fact, actually, another box open arena over here. We're gonna get to that probably tomorrow. So keep tuned and locked for that, especially if you're a Polymega fan. Hint, hint. But yeah, looking at the story there as a final thought, it seems like, hey, you know what? They're doing the thing, and they're going to get the store fixed, and then stuff will be there, and it'll work again. But man, oh man, will we be back when this store works and is fully operational again? I'm expecting. Well, not only will I be able to buy Colorful Boy, let you know how that is, celebrate that launch a little bit. But those 3 Treefall games, man, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome to play. Plus, who knows? Maybe there's stuff locked in the pipeline. It's in this thing. It would have been awesome. And they're all going to come out. It'll be a big fire hose of awesome. We'll do like a Atari VCS takeover of Fun for Fives. Let's do it. Let's do it. But again, let me know down below in the comments, how you're feeling and all that kind of stuff. I really hope you guys are, hanging in there, hanging tough. Not too much of the worries as it does say on there on the thumbnail. But yeah, again, VCS owners have been through this a couple times, and we'll probably go through it a couple times more. But at least there are people here that are in the Atari sphere that are saying, look, we're working on it. There's going to be answers whenever we can get them, and then it'll be good to go. So hopefully that's some silver linings on the blues that is currently in the Atari VCS store. So anyway, thanks again, everyone, for watching. I hope you guys are doing awesome. We got to do one thing and one thing only before we get out of here, and you know what that is. Yeah, you guys know. And that is thank every single member of, you guessed it, the Good Times Club. So let's do that right now. Let's thank the EverCanadian, Crimson Cross, George Games, Chris Westerman, Fan and Fiction, Lloyd R. Jam, Papa Pete, the Intellivision Gamer, Ken the Cure, Mr. Shua, John Woolley, Gunsy20, Herb Wars, DF, Joe Whitlash, David Valdez, Dan Nastic, Dr. Mark Mad Scientist, Alex Groot, Immortal Surgeon, the Atari Creep, and Super Mega Graphics 64. Thank you guys all so much for being members, for doing all of the cool things, getting 1080p StreamYard glory from here to you guys, and not only from here, but from also the Evercast and the Evercade Effect, that's Edge Channel, and Calling All Virtual Gamers, which I swear there's something's going to be there. Something's going to appear soon. It's actually going to be mildly VCS related, so check it out whenever that video drops. I'll make sure to plug it over here, maybe in a short or something like that. So, all right, cool. Well, with all that being said, thanks guys for watching this one. I know it's a bummer sometimes to talk about the bum things, but, you know, that's what we do. Talk about it all, right? And we'll catch you next time for some good times. I'm Rich, and we'll see you later. Take it easy, guys.
RTSC.baconicecream.com